So UX design and UI design go hand in hand, and to say that, like, for instance, UI design is more important or comes first, or UX design is more important comes first, is one of those things that might change depending on who you ask. So if you look through these little, if you Google search, UX design, then specify that you're looking for what we call wireframes, you'll see a lot of these sort of like sketched out or even printed out sort of phone or website screen things that essentially say, okay, well, if we're going to have this app, this website that does something, we want it to look like this, and we want this little area here to be something that plays video, and this thing over here to give you like information and stuff, and then we also want to make sure we know where things go and stuff. So this is a good example of, like, say for instance, this app here. If you tap your finger on this, it goes to this screen. If you tap your finger here, it goes to that screen, and so on and so forth, right? Until we get to like a point where we need to like think things through and stuff, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually think about designing an app, and we're going to think about what goes into designing the app, and we're going to make our own little wireframe, but it's going to be a little less complicated than all this. We're not going to actually do little screens for every single page. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do just like a little flow chart, you might say. So let's go ahead and open up Adobe Illustrator, and let's get our web large here, and we're going to create a messaging app in the vein of like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, or even your phone's just like the iOS chat or the Samsung Android chat, whatever you've got. In fact, if you download any number of apps, like if you download, say for instance, there's a really cool app that I use a lot called Meetup, which we organize hikes and we organize, kayaking adventures and things like that. And that actually has a little chat app inside of it as well, so you can chat there. So it's very limited in its scope. It doesn't do a whole lot of things. And we're going to talk about what you find in an app. So let's just think about this. We're going to start off by designing a couple of things that we can use for every little thing. So we're just going to make a little rectangle here. Doesn't matter how big it is. Just going to make a little rectangle. And we're going to take the fill, make it either empty, or you can make it white if you felt like it, or any other color you like. But we'll give it a stroke just so we can kind of have it be self-contained. And because again, wireframes, right? And let's put in some text here. Let's put the phrase main page, and I'll put it on 2 different lines, and we'll just sort of amp up the font here. Okay, so with that done, we can just drag this in. We can even center them up here, and we can maybe shrink this down to fit. Recall, you hold on Alt and Shift, right? Okay, so main page. I'm going to group this together, so I can just click and drag it here, and I'll just put this over this way. And then I'm going to make a little line that's going to allow me to sort of point to a certain direction here. So I'm going to, I might just draw a little line segment off to the side. And I'm going to click over here on my stroke, and I'm going to find this little arrowheads. And I'm going to find just one side or the other. It didn't really matter, because what you can do is you can actually switch the arrowheads around by simply like rotating this. So for instance, if I rotated this, it wouldn't mysteriously switch back over to the other side. It would stay on the same side I put it on. So we're just going to keep it there. But the thing is, what you can do with this is you can actually get your pen tool out, and you can take your pen tool and draw a little crooked arrow here, and once again add yourself a little arrowhead at the very end. There's several different arrowheads you can choose from here, so we can maneuver these around and stuff. So with that done, I'll just put this side here. So let's think about what goes into a chat app, right? If you have any kind of chat that's worth its salt, you want to do several things. You want to actually chat. So we'll just drag this main page down here, double click on this, get our little main page guy here, and just change that to chat. Try this one more time. Chat. So that's definitely one functionality that we want to do. So I'll just have that there, and I'll just center this. We definitely want to have some kind of video chat, some sort of video messaging that goes on. So video chat, cheat. Most messaging apps worth their salt have some semblance of video element to it. We definitely want some method of accessing our contacts. We want to have a contact list. That's basically every little messaging app I've seen. Video, message, a contact list, and we probably want to have some semblance of e-commerce. So e-commerce is a good little, as a fancy term for just in-app purchases. So we'll hit the phrase in-app purchases. So if you're using something like Facebook Messenger, you can go in and you can buy stickers. If you are using Snapchat, you can purchase filters that you can put on. If you are using WhatsApp, I dare say there's things you can buy there. I don't really use WhatsApp all that often. But every one of these things have, at the very least, these little functions here. So you have some method of like regulating your purchases. You have some method of like curating your contact list, and you have some method of chatting, and you've got some method of doing video as well. So what we want to do right now is in terms of like designing our app, we want to just kind of make a little framework of where these functions all fit in. So if we open up the main page here, what are we going to see? What should we be able to do? Now, if you open up, say for instance, Facebook Messenger, you basically can do almost all of this stuff from the main page. So how are we going to convey this in this little wireframe here? So let's take a second here and think about this. Let's think here. The main page. What are we clicking on to get to our chats and our video chat? Well, if you were to say, for instance, look at like your once you got to a place where you could get your phone, you probably would see several things. You probably would see a list of recent chats or recent messages, and you would probably see a method of adding a new message. So from the main page, the two sort of functions that the user can then do is click on a recent message or write a new message. So let's do that. Let's just drag this over here, and we're going to just change this from chat to recent messages, and I'll just make this centered and fit this in and make sure I have this all squared away. So recent messages, so at any point they can just click on their recent messages, and I'll take this guy here and I'll just say new message. Make sure that's centered here. Make sure it's all centered. Now then, obviously the recent message and the new messages won't be happening, one after. You won't click on your recent messages to make a new message. What you would do is you would probably go from your main page, and then you would have the option of clicking on either one of these things. So let's see if we can either get your arrow here, or maybe, for instance, we could just get our pen tool and just maybe click here, hold down Shift, hold down Shift again, hold down Shift again, and just click right there, and then just Control click away, get your move tool here, take away the fill, add in a stroke, and then just make sure that your stroke ends in an arrowhead. And we can pull this stroke up some, and maybe even widen this out a little bit here. Okay, that's good. And what we'll do is we'll just duplicate this little arrow here to be right down here. Make sure it's out a little bit and pull it back up. So from the main page, we can click on one of our recent messages, and then we can click on one of our new messages. And in this form, we can then go to our, we can once again go to our video chat in either one of these pages here. So video chat, or we can even like add, for instance, maybe the two things we have here. We add like two things, video chat, or for instance, we could send a message. We'll say send message. So that could be either text, or it could be a photo of some kind. And I'm just going to grab these guys here, and I'll just we could do actually a number of things here. We could actually take this guy here. Maybe even drag him down like this. How about this? We'll just get rid of this right here. I'll click once over here, get my pen tool. And maybe even and once again, we'll just grab all these guys and make sure the arrowhead's on there. Choose any of the arrowheads you like. All right, so from here we can new message, we can send a message, we can video chat. Either one of these things, we can make sure this. We put a little arrow here as well. We don't want the lines to cross over too much, because if they do, then it might become confusing to read. Make sure we know which direction it's flowing in. So, okay, cool. All right, so from the main page, we could hopefully go to our contact list as well. And maybe once again, we just hold down the Alt key and drag this down. Maybe expand it out a little bit. Drag it up some. Double check that this doesn't. There we go. And maybe even shrink this down some too, just to give ourselves room for later on. All right, great. Okay, so from the contact list, from there, what we can probably do is just maybe, find someone. We can actually make a new message. So let's draw an arrow from here to here. Let's just click here and just hold down Shift again, and maybe just point to making a new message. So we can just look at our contact list, and this might even be like a number of things like our contact list. We could even just change this from our contact list to even like a search. We can add that as well. Let's just real quick before we go any further, just have a arrowhead here that points to our new messages. And I like the size of this, so I'm just going to get my artboard tool. Let's Shift and O. And just drag this down some so I can get a little more room to work. Shift and O. And I'll just get my move tool back. Oh, nope. Didn't mean to open. Let's get the move tool here. All right. So let's think about our e-commerce. Let's think about our in-app purchases. I think our in-app purchases can be found inside our chat app. So I think our in-app purchases would be things like, say, for instance, games, or we could even do things like stickers. But we could put our in-app purchases here, and let's actually just put this down here. Let's actually put a little list next to it. We can actually put in-app purchases, and we'll just maybe go from here to, well, we'll just go straight for the main page to in-app purchases here, and we'll just click right there, and we'll just double check that we've got things like let's see, arrowhead here for now, and let's make ourselves a little list of things that this could contain. So I'm going to make a new little box to the side. Let's make a little list of things. Well, actually, we can even just drag this off to the side here. So for instance, think about what kind of in-app purchases you get. So for instance, we have things like stickers. Stickers is a big deal. Stickers or emojis or the animated, GIFs that we find and stuff. All those things can you can find those for sale on different things. We even have some things that offer games. And even customizable profiles. Okay, and so we'll kind of lean that out there right there. We'll just kind of leave that there for now. And let's just double check that we got everything. Let's line these guys up here. All right, and we'll just maybe even grab this little guy here. Alt drag him over this way. Maybe just alt drag this guy here. Okay, and let's just maybe one last little thing here with what we could do. We definitely want to have a menu of some kind, and we'll just or maybe even like a quick menu of some kind, and that menu could just have several different options after it. So let's just real quick kind of pull this stuff in here so we can add ourselves a menu. And then we'll just give ourselves some options for our menu. So once again, I'm just going to alt drag this down. And then pull them out to the side. Pull them up to the main page here. And then we'll just give ourselves some options with our menu here. Let's double click on this here and just pull this up menu. Just double check that we can good. Okay. And then from there, generally speaking, whenever I see the menu, what I end up seeing are things like settings for things like privacy, and you could even like link that up with security. So you get privacy/security. And then from there, we have things like, I don't know. Let's think here. What else was I? Push notifications. Basically, what you decide. Like for instance, some people could push notifications. That's too big. I'm gonna try to shrink this down a little bit here. Okay, that'll do. And maybe one more here. Probably things like maybe some kind of like information about the app itself. So we're just gonna have it kind of like be real lean out like that. Okay. Let's see. How are we gonna arrange this? Let's put these guys up a little bit here. Actually, we could just go from the bottom. Like I said, we want to just make sure that we're organizing this in such a way that this can all be easily just sort of understood by someone looking at it. So let's think here. We'll just separate these out like this. And then I could even just grab this guy here. I'll drag him and then rotate him. Hold on, Shift I do it so he maintains 90 degrees. And just one by one, add a little something to each of these guys. I like the arrow going halfway down. So I'll just set it there. Pull up a little bit. Hold this back. I'll drag one more time. Pull this down. Pull this back. Okay. I wonder if the in-app purchases could be moved from the main page to the menu. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag this arrow away, and let's see. Do we have room over this way? I don't think we have room over that way. I think maybe we need to either we could either leave this up here and draw an arrow going all the way up, or we can move this down here. I think I like moving this down here somewhere. I don't think we should go from the main page. I think we should just like kind of stick to this being in-app purchase. Although I want to say it might be able to stick around because I think we might be able to like get to the in-app purchases. We should be able to get to this. We should make this very easy to get to, because if we're a smart, savvy app designer, we want to double check to make sure that everybody can get to the purchases, because we want to make those as easy to get to as possible. So maybe we should be able to get to them from the main page, and from the recent messages, and from the new messages. And hey, even the video chat should probably have some options for in-app purchases. Maybe the video chat actually has things like games available. I know that you can definitely play games while you're doing video chat on Messenger. And hey, why not? So let's make sure that that's available every step of the way. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and just relink this. In fact, I'm gonna bring back that arrow back over this way and just double check that you can get to your in-app purchases every which way. So maybe, for instance, with our new messages and our recent messages, we can just maybe make a couple arrows that kind of just go straight, like just all the way around the horn here. Maybe from within there we can get to things like both our games. And let's just double check this. We got our arrowhead here. And maybe even just double check that we can get to our stickers from here as well. And maybe even our menu gives us an option to get to our things like our custom profile. So I'll just have them all land at the same time here. Doesn't really matter where the arrows go, just so long as they point, and so long as you can kind of tell where they land. Okay, so with this being done here, we've got a lot of arrows pointing in different directions here. So maybe a good thing might be to, like, say, for instance, grab this and just change the stroke color to something different. Like maybe change the stroke color to, like, well, I don't know, like blue here, and then just make all these arrows blue. And maybe do the same thing here. So maybe just get my recent messages and just maybe change this to a different color. So you change the color to, say, for instance, well, I don't know, pink, and just make all these lines here pink. Just so we know what's what. Maybe this new message here, I definitely want to make sure this new message leads me to my games and my stickers. Oh, I want to make sure this arrow here should be pink as well. I'm going to make sure I have a line going from my new messages. I want it to cross over I want it to cross over as few lines as possible. But I'll just it should go with the games as well. And then it should also have something go into the stickers as well. We should be able to get to our stickers. So we should have a whole page devoted to our stickers. And those stickers should be very easy to find, because we want to make sure our people can buy our stuff. Okay, here we go. Alright, so recent messages, new messages. Let's change this color to, say, for instance, I don't know, orange. Okay, I'll change the stroke to orange as well. And make sure this is orange too. And yeah, let's keep this up. We'll keep color coding things. I just choose some things that are like, I want it to be easy to be seen here. Yeah, this is easy to see. I'll leave that one black. I'll leave these two black. That's easy enough. I'll leave this one black too, because it only points to one thing. Well, honestly, it should point to two things. But I'll leave it black anyways. In fact, let's go ahead and just double check that we can go from contact list to, yeah, well, there's a new message. Yeah, just click on it and yeah, it'll go to new message. All right, so as far as menu goes, yeah, we can definitely stand to Well, honestly, I think the menu's fine by itself. Okay, just want to make sure these are color-coded because they do cross over each other. All right, so that is basically all she wrote. Now, your diagram does not have to look identical to mine, but you should have arrows pointing to where they need to. Now comes the part where, you, as your genius marketing app designer extraordinaire, will now name the app. So I want you to come up with a name for your app that does not include your name. So, for instance, if I wanted to call this Lobello Chat, no, we don't want to do that. We want to name it something cool. We want to name it something that's gonna get people's mind, understand what we're all about. So maybe like the WhatsApp, right? That's the whole what's up, right? So WhatsApp, right? Okay, that's nice, right? And then obviously Messenger does its own thing. It's very clear to the point. Think about what other kind of messaging apps are out there. I think I'm gonna name mine. Let's think here. I might name mine. Oh, I don't know. Goodness, I can't think of anything. I'll think of something before I see you guys in class. But in the meantime, though, you think of something, you name it something, you save this. For now, just save this as a .aa file, and then export it as a JPEG using the export for screens option. Make sure it's a JPEG so the white shows up here. But name it something, and then export it as a JPEG, and then submit it to D2L here. Cannot wait to see you guys produce. See you in class.